Hey guys, Nicole here, and today I'm going to be reviewing the Fluidstance deck. Super cool. So before I actually get into the review of the deck, the reason that I'm going to be telling you guys about this product today and letting you know what I think about it is because not too long ago I wrote an article that was dealing with the damage that sitting for too long during the day is actually doing to photographers' health. And if you want to check out that article, there'll be a link below. And basically what I discovered is that photographers are sitting for really extended periods during the day, and that's having all kinds of negative effects on their health, from decreased circulation and musculoskeletal issues to increased risk for cancer and other kinds of problems. So check out that article and you'll see why, once I discovered all of this information and did the research, I decided to go ahead and get myself a stand-up desk to help alleviate some of that stagnation in my body posture. So after having released that article, the guys at Fluidstance saw the article and thought it would be great to send me one of these decks and see what I thought about it and whether or not it could be something that will help out photographers in keeping themselves healthy. And after having used it for about a month, I can definitely say I think this is going to be a great thing to add to your arsenal where you can maintain your workflow and also keep yourself healthy. So first things first, this is the Fluidstance deck. It is a wooden deck on top and then a cast aluminum bottom. As you can see, the first thing that you notice about this product is that it's really beautifully made. And as a creative and somebody who, basically uses their eyes for a living, I love the fact that this product is like such a gorgeous piece of machinery. It's really well made and pleasing to the eye. The decks can come in different kinds of woods and finishes, and the bottoms are all military grade aluminum on the top line boards, and you can see that they have this little kind of half dome up at the top, which is the area where you balance. And the top of the line boards are rated at 300 pounds and above, and then the middle of the road boards are about 250 pounds and above. And so they also have some ones for kids and some little plastic guys, recycled plastics and rubbers. So that's something definitely to think about. But basically, this thing is sturdy. It's just a little bit over 7 pounds. It's really well made, and it's just the right width for most feet sizes. If you've got really big boats on your feet, then you may want to consider that. But so basically, this part of the half dome up here rests on the ground, and then it's actually got these rubber bumpers on each corner so that as the board moves, the bumpers stop it from kind of clanging into the floor or damaging more sensitive floors, maybe like wooden floors. They kind of protect your stuff, which is nice, and then there's no kind of hard clanging as the board moves. But basically, you put your feet on the board, and then the board is at your desk, and the board comfortably moves forward and backward and side to side. I've also found that it's really easy to kind of move in a circular motion. And what I love about the board is that, aside from the fact that it's really sturdy and good looking, which is nice, it's not too heavy, so it's easy to move around if I need to. But it kind of gives me a full range of motion through my ankles, through my knees, and through my hips. So if I'm standing and working at my desk, I might be, shifting my weight back and forth and side to side. I might be actually rolling and kind of letting that range of motion, keep my hips really mobile. And also sometimes I'll just slide my feet back and forth like this, and that kind of keeps everything moving. The really cool part is that the guys at Fluidstance have sent these decks to the Mayo Clinic. They have a certification called the NEAT certification, and what that means is the non-exercise activity thermogenesis certification, NEAT. And basically that means that these decks help you burn a little bit more than 19% extra calories every day just by using the deck. So for me, being health conscious, that's a pretty big deal. So aside from the fact that these are kind of fun to use, they give you a good range of motion through your hips, through your spine. You know, you can twist or you can rock back and forth. You can be kind of moving side to side on them. It's well made, it's good looking, burns extra calories. Plus I found that it encourages me to continue moving. So sometimes I might be working at my desk and I'll be really stagnant and I'll be standing for a long time, and maybe the most I'll do is kind of lift one foot or the other, kind of move my foot a little bit if I'm sitting too still for too long. With this thing, it really kind of encourages me to do a different range of motions that's great for your joints. And I've also found that it kind of helps with with keeping my lower back from getting tight, which is awesome. So for these decks, they recommend that you kind of start with your normal schedule and then integrate it about 20% into your day, just to kind of allow your body to get used to working those muscles that maybe you're not using on a normal basis. And I found over the course of a month that starting there and then just increasing my usage during the day was the best way to go. You do get a little bit of fatigue at first. If you're not moving too much during the day, you're definitely gonna feel a little bit of muscle fatigue there. But it wasn't anything that really worried me to the point where I was like, this is starting to get uncomfortable and maybe I wouldn't use the board. I generally found it to be really doable up until the point where I was using it more often. Some of the stuff that I didn't really love a whole lot was I did find that I tended to have a little bit of travel with the board, particularly if I was moving my hips and rotating the board back and forth. I found that I tended to travel to the left a little bit. So I'd be working away at my desk and all of a sudden, clunk, the corner of this thing would ram into my desk. And it's not necessarily terrible because it did kind of is a good reminder to like pick up the board and move it, but it still was a little bit distracting. Also, this works really well for me if I am doing, if I'm typing, if I'm sending emails, if I'm, doing my books or keeping up with clients. But if I'm editing and I'm doing really delicate editing work, then the board kind of becomes a little bit of a problem, because if the work is delicate, then I'm not quite as stable. So I think for photographers, when you're using this board, if you're getting into that kind of editing work, then it's probably one of the good times to take the board and set it aside and just work either standing up or sitting down, so that you can really kind of get that delicate detail work if you need to, if you're masking or something like that. Aside from that, the board is really a handy addition to the day. It supports the body weight nicely. It works well on hardwoods as well as on carpets. They do offer mats, so if you have a floor that you are worried about, sometimes after prolonged periods of use on hardwood floors, they say that the finish can start to wear a little bit, which may increase the potential for causing damage to the floor. So they do have mats as well that you can use to kind of reduce that. But really, aside from that, I found that this board kept me more mobile during the day. It gave me a good range of motion. It increased my potential for movement, because if you're just standing for too long, you're not always getting as much movement as you should. And having that movement during the day actually kind of increases, your happiness factor, because you're releasing feel-good hormones when you're moving. Moving is good for you, it's good for your brain, it's good for your body, and that's good for your attitude. So it actually kind of increases, the quality of my attitude during the day. So if you are serious about, long-term health as a photographer, some of the photographers that I talk to are sitting sometimes in excess of 10 hours a day just at their desk. That's not including driving to your office or to meet a client, sitting down and eating dinner with your family or whatever. All of that sitting is building up during the day. So if you really want to take care of your health, keep your joints, especially the joints in the lower half of your body, healthy and moving, increase your circulation, all of that stuff, this board is really a great way to incorporate that kind of movement into your day without sacrificing time spent actively working. So you don't necessarily have to take time away to go, you know, to do other things. This increases your calorie burning during the day. So for me, I would say I 100% recommend this board. It's a really solid product. If you have balance issues, you're going to want to take your time and get used to the movement of the board. Make sure that you have something to hang on to. The movement isn't crazy. If for anybody with, you know, middling to good balance, you're going to find it pretty comfortable, and it's definitely going to increase your health in the long term because you're moving more and you're not stagnant, and your blood circulation is going to be better, your joints are going to feel better, you're going to have less muscle tightness, and all of this is my personal experience. So I would definitely say I recommend this board for those of you who are serious about, you know, the long-term health as a photographer. It does run up in price a little bit. You're going to be spending a few $100s, upwards of $200, depending on which board you get. But having said that these are not cheap, it's also a quality product. It's solid, it's sturdy. You know, my kids will sometimes grab this thing while we're hanging out downstairs and watching a movie together at the end of the day. And I have 3 boys, and this thing is standing up. It still looks great. So these Fluidstance decks, I love mine. I'm glad that I have it now. It's definitely integrating well into my work schedule and the way that I work. And if you're really looking to kind of add those little things to your life that are going to keep you healthy as you work as a photographer, I'd say it's a good way to go. I hope that helps. I hope you guys check out the article that I wrote before. Find out about the effect that sitting is having on photographers' health. Consider whether or not it's a potential for yours. I know it was giving me muscle cramps in my upper back and neck. Having a standing desk and then incorporating the Fluidstance board has made an enormous difference. Rather than having maybe 3 or 4 a week, I'm now maybe having just a couple a month muscle cramps that give me headaches. So look into this, check out that article, find out what you can do to improve your health, and definitely consider one of these suckers. This is a solid investment. Best of luck, guys. I hope to see you around.